on the Bobby Bones Show now.
Josh Turner.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good.
Is this the first time you've been in the studio?
In this studio, yeah.
So since how long has it been since you've been here? It's been years, huh? Has it not? We had a number one.
And then when did you come in for your book?
I've seen you at remotes. And
I know I've seen you.
And it hasn't been that long.
Well, let me say this. Well, it seems like I missed you. That's what it feels like. My
yeah.
heart just feels like it missed you, Josh.
Every day seems like a year.
Dang.
That's right.
Josh Turner is here. Country State of Mind. Let me tell you, you know what I love? I love cover songs, period, done by an artist that appreciates it, but just makes it their own just a little bit. Like that, I love all, and that's exactly what you did with this record. Track one, I'm no stranger to. First of all, I love Keith Whitley.
Yeah.
Secondly, you do such a good job with the song. Whenever you're picking a song to cover and put out, not just play live, but to put out on a record, you got to go, man, can I really do this song justice? And a Keith Whitley song, talk me through your thought process of picking this song to cover.
Well, that song's always been one of my favorite songs. Which ironically is not one of the songs that I just sit around and play because I've always loved Keith Whitley's version of it. And so when it came time to make a record like this, I couldn't not put that song on this record because I feel like it's one of the most well-written country songs in history. And I love what it says. I love the way it moves. It kind of conjures up, all these visual images, and it just, it's an inspiring song. And so, and I love the track that we cut on it. And so it felt like the number one track on the record to kind of lead it off. So
I want to encourage everybody to check it out today. When you finish this radio, don't do it right now. We're with Josh, right? Don't leave us to do it. But when we're done here, it's called Country State of Mind. We're going to come back and play some more of these tracks in a second. I was thinking about you coming in today, and I wondered, when you go through a drive-through, do people ever recognize your voice through just the person like, welcome to Starbucks? You're like, I'd like to get a double shot of bun. And they're like, are you Josh Turner? Does that ever happen?
Not at the drive-through. But usually when I go into a restaurant, if I'm by myself, when I open my mouth, it gives it away. So,
when did your voice start to go that deep? What age?
I had been singing bass and stuff in a quartet when I was in my teens, early in high school, but it didn't have the depth and the texture that it has now because I didn't really know how to technically use my voice. I didn't know there was a proper way to use your voice, and so I injured my voice in 1996. That led to my first trip to Nashville to the Vanderbilt Voice Clinic, and so through all of that rehabilitation process, I had to kind of learn how to sing and talk all over again. And that was when I kind of started noticing that my voice was developing into what you hear now. And so it was really kind of a blessing in disguise. So it's probably, I'd say technically like early college when it really kind of took shape.
I was talking to Trace Atkins pretty recently. We were at the Grand Ole Opry. And, he was talking about how he was singing bass in a Christian group too. And there just hadn't been a lot of bass singers go into the front and actually be the main guy. I mean, who did you look at as someone? Was Trace one of those guys?
Trace was one of those guys. Richard Sturbin from the Oak Ridge Boys was one of those guys. Randy Travis was one of those guys. When I was growing up listening to radio, everybody was just singing so dang high. It's like, and that's really one of the things that kind of led to me injuring my voice was trying to sing along to Vince Gill and Tim McGraw. It's like, it's just, man, just totally different voices than mine. And so I didn't realize that you could sing out of your range and force it to the point to where you're basically straining your vocal cords to the point where you're injuring them. So
on this record, Country State of Mind, there's a track, you do a Hank Jr. song with Chris Janson. It's Country State of Mind. The record's named after this. Here's a clip of Josh and Chris Janson doing Country State of Mind.
I'm just laid up here in a country state of mind.
You have Chris Janson, you have Runaway June, you have Maddie and Tay, special guest appearance from Randy Travis, a duet with Chris Christopherson. Who's making all these calls for you? Because you have the most loaded cell phone I've ever seen. You need to get all these folks on your record.
I did all of them pretty much,
Dang.
all but Allison Moore, which was kind of a surprise because I had done Alone and Forsaken, and then my producer Kenny Greenberg said, "Hey, you mind if I bring in Allison Moore to sing on this?" I said, "Absolutely, go for it," because I was listening to her when I was in college and always loved her voice, and she actually had a song called Long Black Train, so I'm not the only one.
These tracks that are out now, there are 4 of them out now, right? I haven't played any illegal ones yet. I'm always scared because they send me these tracks, Josh, and I'm like, so the ones I've played so far are the ones that are out.
As far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. You just make the music and let it happen. Here you go. This is the urban legend that I read about you.
Okay.
When you were a student at Belmont, you went to Johnny Cash's property. You saw the gate was open. You took it as a sign. So you went and knocked on the door. The doorknob wiggles. The door swings open, and there stands Johnny Cash. He and I both jumped back, Josh Turner says, because he didn't expect to see me, and I sure didn't expect to see him. True or false?
That's very true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, you tried to walk inside someone's house?
I didn't try to walk in his house, but
The gate from the land.
I walked
He
up to
knocked
his
on the
house.
door.
Yeah.
I know, but then he said he wiggled the knob. And
I think Johnny Cash wiggled the knob, or did
Yeah.
you?
No, you said the doorknob wiggled.
Yeah, which was
and-
him.
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay.
And then-
I
yeah.
thought, sorry, he said the doorknob, and I thought he just straight up was like, I see this as a sign. I'm just going to walk right in. And I was like, what? Okay, that makes sense now. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But then what happens right then? Does he call the cops, or do you guys go and make a salad, or what happens?
I was just a young, dumb college student that had stars in my eyes, and I was just trying to meet my hero because I had been reading his autobiography, and I had read about the neurological disorder that he had been diagnosed with, and I got to thinking one day that if I didn't get to meet Johnny Cash before he died, that I would be extremely disappointed. And so I knew I was taking a risk, but I didn't really know what to expect. And so I get there, and like you say, the gate was completely open. I drive in, I park, I walk up to the door, I knock. Nobody answered, so I kind of walked around the corner of the house, and it was just pitch black dark around the house. And I said, I probably should stay over here in the light. And so I went back, I knocked again. There's a stained glass window beside the door, and I could see through the window, and there's a painting of June on the wall. So I was like, this has got to be the place. So I knocked really hard, and I hear this voice from the depths of the house saying, "Coming, coming." And my heart just started fluttering. And so, like I say, the door swings open, and there's Johnny Cash. And he and I both kind of flinched. And once we got over the initial shock, I just started kind of introducing myself, telling him why I was there. I was a big fan of his, been reading his book and all this kind of stuff, and just thanked him for the impact that he had had on me. And he was just very nice and down to earth and shook my hand. He laughed, when I told him my heart was about to beat out of my chest, and he kind of laughed and said, well, we're all human. And so, like I say, he spent a few minutes with me, and then he said, I'm going to go back in and rest. And I said, I understand. So he shuts the door, and I start walking back to my truck, and I just broke down crying because I could not believe that it had just happened. And then the morning that I woke up and found out that he had passed away, I was so thankful that I had taken that leap of faith to try to go meet him, because that was the only opportunity I ever had to meet him.
Wow, what a story.
Wow. I mean, because cool, and you seem very normal, but also that could be very scary for a artist. I mean, even with you now, that means a big Josh Turner fan could see your
If his gate's open,
gate
have at
open,
it, right?
and
Isn't that
then,
what you're saying, basically?
come knock at your door, which you're stable and see, but if someone was not, that would be very.
Well, somebody asked me earlier, like, what I learned from that, and I said, well, I've learned that if somebody knocks on my door, don't shoot them, because they might end up being famous, and I don't want them hating me, talking bad about me in interviews.
That you had that in you, though, like you need to go meet him. And then whenever I was in college, I had a professor, and I didn't click with a whole lot of my professors, but one was really important to just kind of shaping my new thoughts. I came from a really small town, 700 people, didn't have a lot around me to learn from, but when I got to college, I started to learn new things. And I never actually met him in person, except I sat in his class. And so for some reason, I thought, I'm going to go, and I knew where he lived near campus. I'm going to go knock on the door and just tell him that he meant a lot to me. And I knocked on his door and he opened it, and it was weird. It was awkward for me and for him, the whole thing. But I told him and I left, and then he died like 3 months later. And I was like, I'm so glad that I did that.
Yeah, there you go.
And I haven't thought about that story since you told that story. But
Yeah.
I was just so grateful that I also went and did that same thing. And what
Yeah.
do we learn? If somebody means something to us, we should tell them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
That's
It
right.
just may or may not be at their front door.
Hey.
Yeah. Uninvited.
Did he? Johnny Cash had a deep voice, huh?
Oh yeah.
Was it like, hey, what are you doing? I'm done, man. What are you doing at the door? What
Yeah.
are you doing at my door? Nothing, man. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
it registered on the Richter scale there up in Hendersonville there briefly. So
Josh Turner is here. You know what I love about you, and you're a devout Christian. I wonder whenever you are writing or picking songs, like how much your faith has to do with the music that you're playing.
it has everything to do with everything I do. You know, I didn't come to Nashville to just get a record deal and be famous. I came up here to basically chase a dream and a passion of mine, and I knew that with that there came responsibility. You know, as long as I chose to accept it, because you know you have a platform when you get a record deal, whether you want it or not, and you have a choice of either using it or abusing it. And I've realized that, you know, music impacts people in a profound way, in ways that, you know, you may never even realize. And so I always want to go in to make a record, do a show, whatever it may be, and do it to the utmost of my ability, and just you know, shed some light on some things, bring some joy and hope and peace to somebody that may not have been able to find it elsewhere. And you know, but I try to make it fun too, because music is fun. You know, it's an outlet for me. It's a way for me to express myself, and you know, and it's this current record, Country State of Mind, already, but you know, with the songs that I've released from it, it's conjured up good memories for people. You know, they hear a song, it's like, oh man, I remember riding around with my granddaddy listening to that song, or I remember this, and you know, and it's just stories like that, especially in a crazy time like right now, that I think, you know, people are just yearning for that kind of thing. So
I'm gonna ask you one more thing here before we get into another song. But you have 4 boys.
mm-hmm.
What about you is producing all the boys and no girls?
A lot of testosterone,
Is
I
it-
guess. Just yeah.
His deep voice.
Riders in the Sky nicknamed me the tornado of testosterone. So I guess that's it. I don't know.
So, are you gonna have a girl? Are you trying for a girl?
We did. We tried 4 times. And tried and failed 4 times.
That's funny. All right. Josh Turner's here. By the way, let me mention again, on the 21st, but there's a bunch of tracks out now. I'm No Stranger to the Rain. Country State of Mind with Chris Janson. That's a Hank Jr. song. I can tell by the way you dance. I'm seeing the ones that you have put out already. I've Got It Made. By the way, that's a John Anderson song, and he's actually on the song too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aha. Now
Yeah.
that's probably a little nerve-wracking, because you cover a song with a buddy, but you cover a song with the. Let me play. Do you have a clip of that, Raymundo? Here is. You're singing it with the guy, with Mr. Seminole Wind.
So you can't sing it like John Anderson
Right.
when he's singing on. Yeah. So it's a lot of pressure.
Did you guys sing together?
I had already done my part, but I was in the studio when he did his part.
That's got to be so cool, right?
Yeah. So,
All right.
and I just kept listening to how he did his. I was like, is he going to make me have to go back in and sing, re-sing my part? You know, but it all worked out.
And you'd be like, "Hey, John, while you're here, let's do some swinging."
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, Josh, you're gonna play "Forever and Ever, Amen," which is, you know, for me, one of the songs growing up in Arkansas, Kiss in
best.
'96. Randy Travis.
Yeah.
Why this song? Why'd you pick this song?
It's Randy's signature song, and I had seen several events around town where somebody would, you know, go out and sing this song, and they would have Randy come out and sing, you know, the last Amen. And, you know, I was like, man, you know, we need a recorded version of that. And so I asked Randy if he would come in, and And I asked him, I said, hey, I've seen you do this live in a lot of different settings, and but we're in the studio now, so if you want to sing more than just the last amen, feel free. And he said, nope. So I was like, well, Randy Travis is literally getting the last word. So.
Well, and Randy's here, which is really cool, so we can bring him in now. We're just such big fans of you two. Mr. Travis just grew up. When I think of growing up in Central Arkansas as a kid, it was just it was mostly Randy Travis and Garth, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all it was. It was Randy Travis and Garth, and I know with Amy is a little more George Strait than it was.
It was probably more George Strait and Randy Travis.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know too. I don't want to look. I'm getting I don't. We have so many people in and out of here, but that song just takes me right back to my childhood and like my dad and friends and riding around. And I had no idea you were even here today. So I guess I was a little shocked when you came in, and then just to see, I don't know, that song just touches a lot of people, and so it's just cool to hear that today, and then hear you be a part of it. And now I'm all emotional. I don't even know why. I'm like, what is happening? But
well, it's proof of the influence and the impact that one person can have on the world, really, because you think about your memories and how Randy's music affected you, and Randy is the reason that I moved to Nashville, because he made me realize that it's possible for somebody that grew up in a small tobacco farming community to come to Nashville, to come to the big city and get a record deal. And so he inspired me.
Randy, I was out with some buddies, and they said, hey, they don't know a lot about country music. And they said, hey, make like a 10-song playlist. And so I had Digging Up Bones was one of them that I put on there. Man, you talk about being a kid with my grandma. Digging Up Bones, Randy, that was my jam. I sang it loud as I could the other day, so it's really nice to have you here.
That's the first country song I ever sang in front of a crowd.
Is it because it's so deep?
And I was 13 years old, had no idea what a negligee was. So I appreciate that. I was making all the old ladies in church kind of blush, so.
That's funny. Okay, Josh Turner, Country State of Mind. There are already tracks that are out of this that you already hear, because they're all amazing. The whole thing comes out on the 21st. But you can go and pre-save it now. Do whatever you do. Randy, great to see you. Always a pleasure. This has been just a real fun experience for all of us. So it's a real special day for us. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, cool.
All right, there he is. Josh Turner, Randy Travis, everybody.